Thursday night, 7 o'clock, the Garnet Old show. No inside info, no contacts, no problem. I'm Ryan. That's Vince. Vince, how are you today, my friend? Happy Christmas, as one would say.
Merry Christmas. Looks like I just got some glitter on my eye here.
I thought you did that intentionally.
That's the Christmas spirit. I'm oozing Christmas spirit out of my pores, I think, at this point. Yeah, that's high production value leading into this show, Ryan. Good job on that. Ryan and I, we're in the post-Christmas glow. We've got the glow. You actually, the post-Ryan glow right behind you, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm in a perpetual portal.
Yeah, that's looking pretty good. And just to point that out, the studio glow up here, Ryan, has been epic. And so I want to commend you on that. And I want to also thank our studio sponsor, Captain Black's Fishing out of Panama City Beach, who is graciously sponsored the studio for both Ryan and myself. Ryan in Captain Black Fishing Studios Central. I'm in Captain Black Fishing Studios North. Thank you, Captain Black. And if you're looking for some offshore fishing memories to make with your family and your buddies or your coworkers, or maybe even some people you don't even like very much, you would still have a good time there. So give them a call. Captain Black's Fishing, charter fishing out of Panama City Beach. There ends the commercial. Let's go.
Yeah, one nitpick about my setup here, Vince, that I'm noticing now. I'm going to fix this angle. Needs to be lowered to here.
Yeah,
Another time.
You get some geometry problem there.
Yeah, I eyeballed it. That's when you do the whole you know.
Listen, you got to get the protractor out. You got to get the compass out, and you got to make sure that's right, because some OCD people that are in our chat are probably going to point that out at some point. Notice, by the way, Ryan, I've got a little bit of a glow up here tonight too.
Yeah, the Christmas tree in the background, right?
That is the Florida State tree. That is normally just on the other side of that door, but I decided to pull it in for the show here, just to let everybody know that the VC Knoll house is in Christmas spirit here, and Florida State Christmas spirit. Ryan, what are we going to talk about this evening?
One thing we're going to talk about is a lot of transfers, right? A lot of transfers happening. So much so that it's hard to keep up with sometimes.
It is. I made that graphic for the show, and I made the thumbnail for the show, and I was pretty proud of it. My Photoshop skills are not great, but Canva helps me out a lot. And I was pretty proud of that, and I was done with it. And then as soon as I got done with it, within a half an hour, was the next post.
Yep, from Luke.
About an offensive lineman. So,
which is, hey, the more the merrier. Well, let me tell you what. Started off right off the bat saying, "God bless you, Herb on bringing a whole lot of 350-pounders, 7-footers up in here." I saw someone tweeted out the other day, Vince. I don't know who it was. Said someone didn't tell Coach Atkins that he was allowed to bring in offensive linemen that didn't look just like him.
Yeah, I saw that.
Same size and everything. So, yeah, we're beefing up. Size, when you get into the 350, 7-footers across the board, that's Bama, that's Georgia, that's what you got to have, man.
Right. Those guys are just a little bit bigger than me. I am right about 6'2", 230. So they're just a little bit bigger than me.
Let's shout out some people in the chat. So KH says, "Happy holidays, gentlemen." Riz P, good old Raj. Merry Christmas, fellas. And then Stoking the Flame. I agree with you 100% when you say, I want all the O-linemen.
Yeah, we might as well take as many as we can get. And rounding that out earlier today with the center is, we need that. So we're going to talk quite a bit about that. And we're going to also have a little bit of fun with
Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah, the continuing saga of a person that really just doesn't I don't know. We can talk about it in
People
it.
are starting to see our side of the story.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all I like to hear.
In the meantime, though, if you guys watching here, grab the link to the show and post it in your social media of choice. Let's get some more Knowles in here for the show. Copy the link, share it out, and say, hey, join us. Join it. Let's talk about some Knowles the day after Christmas, after all the presents have been opened, and all the eggnog has been drunk.
Speaking of drunk, Vince,
Yeah. So
your
so
gifts are
get,
elite.
yeah, go get some people and get it in the chat here. Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know what to think about it. I'm very happy about the gifts that I got, but I'm also wondering whether I
Is
might
it a
be
sign?
I might be setting the wrong signals to my family when I get a complete cocktail set,
Uh huh.
a very nice bottle of bourbon, and a Beers of the World pack, and another jigger for the bar, and my wife and I are right now looking for an actual bar cabinet, or like a bar cart.
I have one that I got from Amazon. Highly recommend. I'll send you the link after the
Yeah,
show.
send me the link to that because it's kind of tough to
It's
figure out
wine. It's a wine holder and a liquor bar.
exactly what we need.
Yep.
If it has lights, great. It doesn't have to have lights.
You can
If
easily
it
mount them.
has, if it has a refrigerator in it, that's great. It doesn't have to have a refrigerator. But yeah, so I'm getting all of these gifts that are all related to my liver, and I'm wondering if I've set the bad example for my family.
I think it's a positive thing. So here's the thing, Vince. Just because you like or enjoy the finer things in life, like a drink every now and again, it doesn't mean you're abusing it. It just means you enjoy it. So, for example, last night I enjoyed the hell out of an entire bottle of wine to myself. That's what
Yeah,
I did while watching
Boone's
the
Farm.
Santa. Yeah, we watched the Santa Claus and Santa Claus 2, and a Muppets Christmas Carol.
Oh, by the way, Muppet Christmas Carol may be the best
I
adaptation.
told Kristen that's my favorite Christmas movie.
It is top notch, and who's the actor?
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine played it so straight,
Hmm.
and I saw some quotes about that
Hmm.
where they were asking him, about being in the movie and trying to get him to talk about it. And he's like, "I'm going to play this as if I'm playing in the Royal Shakespeare Theater,
Yeah,
and everyone else is going to do what they do, but I'm going to play it legit." And it's that kind of like juxtaposition with the Muppets with him is there should be more
yeah,
awards for that rendition.
yeah. That and Rizzo the Rat's performance. I mean, it's an all timer.
Yeah,
All right, but Vince, so you got alcohol, which is great.
I did. I got alcohol. I got some gift cards. Best or Home Depot gift card or two. I got a little bit of cash
Yeah, I
for
uh, I
disposal.
I did not get $1 billion.
No, I did not either.
I tried. I signed up for it. I purchased the tickets, but it didn't happen. But you know what? There's
Nobody,
always tomorrow.
nobody got it.
There's always tomorrow.
It was a rollover, and so I encourage anyone that's wanting to, if you have a dollar, or actually you need
Yeah.
$2. If you have $2 in your pocket, what are you going to spend that on?
Yeah, as they say on the cruise ships, Vince, you got to be in it to win it.
Right.
And if you want to talk glow up for the Garnet Old show, if Vince
Yeah.
or I want it, we will actually have the Captain Black's Fishing Studio, probably in Tallahassee.
Right. We will do a show from one of the charter boats
Yeah.
that we're going to purchase, and call it, Garnet and Gold on the ocean.
You know,
Take on the ocean.
we really need to rename the Champions Club to like, the Garnet Old Champions Club. So I don't even know that amount of money would get done, but what it would do is get us out of the ACC. I would call the athletic director tomorrow and I would say, "Hey, I got you. What does it take to make it happen? I want a new schedule next year. I don't want to we're already playing Bama. That's taken care of. I'm
Yeah.
going to write you a check."
Yeah. Would love to, hey, since we're on the fantasy realm here,
Mhm.
um, let's just say that if if the stars aligned and VC Noel was the proud owner of the winning ticket, um, let's just say the Chiefs would never have to worry about
Yeah.
traveling ever again.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that there's a GA position on the staff for you that you can.
I don't. I know. I don't. I no. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna just follow along. I don't need to do anything.
Oh, I want to do something. I want to do nothing but something. Give me a title, give me access to the football facility,
Right. Right. Right.
but no responsibility.
No responsibilities. Looks like Chris got a Rode mic wireless Go as the best gift he got from a fan. How about that? I'll put that up here real quick.
I got
Yeah,
a surprise gift, Vince.
those mics are great. I'm doing a little bit of a. I didn't tell you this, Ryan. I don't think, but I'm doing a little bit of a field test with a DJI Mic Mini 2.
Hmm.
Um, Kind of the same deal, but it's more of like a little button mic.
Hmm.
So far so good with that.
Let me know how it goes because I want the link. If so, I had. Have you ever thought you've never see something again, and then one day you find it in the most unlikely of ways? So there was a box, Vince, and there's a few boxes. There's like three boxes that have been boxes for like 3 years now.
Okay.
And finally, I was like, you know what? Kristen and me were like, let's get these opened up. I don't even
Oh,
remember
so
what.
they're like packed. They're packed boxes.
Yeah, and they were packed up even when we had like our old house. Like they've just been in storage essentially.
Right. Right. Right.
So I found my GoPro,
Look at that.
and this is a GoPro Hero 9 Black. So it's actually a nice GoPro. So we might be using that bad boy as a tertiary camera this upcoming
Love
football
it.
season for a wide shot, a fisheye cam.
Yeah. Somebody asked me one time why I keep leaning to my side like this because
Old
I've got
age.
a camera. No,
So
I got a little arthritis in the shoulder. No, I've got a camera arm here, and sometimes when Ryan's got something up on the screen, I've got to kind of lean over to look past the arm here. Someday we're going to have, the cameras like in the screen,
yeah,
and,
Vision Pro.
and you won't have anything blocking, blocking your vision.
Yeah, so the GoPro, I'm hoping it still charges, but 4 years just been hanging out.
Yep.
I had no idea where it went. I looked for it before. I looked for it in drawers. I looked for it
Yeah.
everywhere.
You thought you lost it,
Yeah,
but you didn't. You packed it in a place you said, I'm always going to remember where this is.
yeah.
And then you didn't remember. But that's going to.
In a cruise bag.
Right. Looks like we got the numbers climbing here, Ryan. So I want to tell everybody, like we always tell them, thank you so much for watching the show. Ryan and I try to do it religiously every Thursday night at 7. Whether it's a holiday or not, we try to get it done. And if you're interested, if you like the show, please go over to YouTube and like the show. Subscribe on YouTube if you do not mind, and if you really, really want to support the show, you can do that a number of different ways. Tell them how it goes, Ryan.
Man, you hit the join button, and a couple things happen. You get a members only show, which I hope, and if you haven't, you guys can all go see it right now.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we did a members only fun conspiracy show, not Florida State related,
No.
and we made that public a week after. So this past weekend, Vince made that public. That's the kind of stuff you get in the off season when we do a members only show. But you will get 2 members only shows a month. You will get, if you connect with us on X, we will follow you back, and you can DM us anytime you want, back and forth. You can, hey, and if you want to DM us a question, hey, can you guys cover this in the show this week? We got you. And you'll get special recognition and shout outs on Garnet Old when we see you comment. It shows us if you're a member. And then also, if you want to support us and want to ask a question live in our show, we have the super chat function in YouTube. So please check that out. And thank you guys for supporting us. Let's get into some Florida State talk, Vince. What do we got?
All right. So a lot of positive happenings, Ryan. For all the things that everybody complained about all season long, and rightly so, like our inability to run the ball. This this new staff, has had and is having a very obvious plan
Hmm.
on to get that corrected as quickly as they possibly can. The first step in all of that was hiring the offensive coaches that we have now, right?
Hmm.
We talked about that in a previous show, and all the shows have talked about this. Gus Malzahn and Herb Hand find ways to run the ball. It's not a problem. They're going to find, and it would be really tough for it to be worse, granted. But next season, you are going to see a major, in my opinion, uptick in the way the team runs the ball. So you got the coaching staff in place that's their bread and butter. The next step in that is making sure you get the guys in place that can execute the plan.
Yeah.
And so you've seen it. Today we added another one. You've got Medley, you've got Gunnar Hansen, you've got Micah Pettis, and today you got a center.
Luke
Say goodbye to one Luke. Say hello to another Luke. Luke Pettibon, I believe is how you
from
say it,
Wake Forest.
from Wake Forest, and he was an All ACC center. A lot of experience, a lot of good experience.
Yep.
Highly graded as far as PFF scores are concerned.
Yeah.
And so the guys that are coming in are guys that have had production. I mean, you could say, well, everybody can develop. Yes, so they're going to develop more, but they aren't projects.
Right.
That
Yeah.
makes me happy.
Yeah. It makes me happy. The size makes me happy. The big hosses of 6'7", 350s, that makes me smile. And you'll notice one thing. A few of the guys, not all of them, but a few of them, maybe lower end on pass protection,
Yeah.
but very good at run blocking. And when you spoke to it, Vince, Gus Malzahn, they want to run the ball. Herb Ham, they want to run the ball. They went and got offensive linemen that are really good at run blocking to run the ball, and they'll deal with the passing game as as needed. As far as hopefully off play action, and it frees up your receivers on the outside, and we're gonna have some tall wide receivers too. So I think the plan was always continuity to get a lot of guys that they were already familiar with, or have at least were very confident that could run the ball. What I like about the Wake Forest center, Vince, is they've been running for a long time. He's not a spring chicken.
Nope.
Been running the slow mesh, and the slow mesh is a very slow developing run system a lot of time. So that center has to hold up quite a long time. I
Mm.
always would, if I was an offensive lineman, I would find it very stressful to play in the slow mesh because you feel like you're just standing still and you're not sure what's happening behind you because you don't know if they're going to give or keep.
Yeah.
But I like the size. Size will win in the ACC against most opponents. If you have 350 pounders and they have 250 pounder D linemen, you're going to win a lot of matchups, and that's what they're aiming to do.
It's going to be a far cry, I believe, from what we witnessed this past year, and size is a big deal for sure. But like you said, like I've read about, these guys have had productive years already,
Hmm.
and putting them in a system that is tried and true. I think we can confidently say that it's tried and true. Yeah, I mean, the running game is going to be better. And in the graphic I made, I've got the lineman on there, and then I've got the QB because the kid can run.
Thomas Castellanos, my man.
And then the new quarterback Usman Chroma,
Mm.
who is, I think, going to be a big time player for us. I never expect a true freshman to be a big time player immediately from the get go. But before it's all said and done, I
Yeah.
think I think he will be. So prepping to run,
Yeah, you know it's funny,
and
Vince, is
it's not over yet.
since these moves have happened, because I'm on year 8 of EA Sports College Football Dynasty mode. I won 6 national championships. Um, Here's the thing: on that game, the second like we started making all these moves, I've gone to a completely like power spread where
Mm-hmm.
I'm just running the ball a ton, and it's been a lot of fun because usually I'm a pass heavy guy, but it's been a
Are you
lot of fun
running?
running the ball.
Are you running a 3-3-5 on defense
I
now too?
am, yes, yes. Funny enough, Vince, I was already before anything at the beginning of the year running a 3-3-5 on defense because when you're playing in Dynasty or online, I find it much more helpful to have more DBs on the
Yeah.
field, more linebackers, and I would usually on my depth chart I take one linebacker and I usually put in instead a strong safety or free safety that's oversized. I like that speed on the field, so I've been running that anyways for a long time. But yeah, I love running the ball, and it's gonna be fun next year. The thing that will frustrate people, and I'm already gonna predict it, Vince. There's gonna be some low scoring games. There's gonna be a halftime score, maybe against let's say a Wake Forest or something, 14 to 6, something like that, where we're okay, man, it's been a good game. We were moving the ball easily, no problem. But just be prepared, everyone. This is more heavy on the run front than Mike Norvell's usual system. In an ideal situation, Mike Norvell puts up 45 plus a game because he does actually toss the ball around. He might have always claimed like everything starts with the run, but if you really look at most of the seasons here, my man loves his explosives and he loves to get the push, especially last year. I mean, every other play was a attempted 60-yard bomb to Keon or someone downfield. So just expect guys to see a lot of long, let's say 12 play, 6.5 minute drives. I envision that happening. I like that brand of football, but not everyone's cup of tea, and I think that's why some people were hesitant of the Gus hire.
Well, I mean, the thing about that is you run the risk of a game getting away from you because it's so close in score. So,
Yeah.
but you know what? We let a lot of games get away from us.
Hmm.
So, um, I'm optimistic. I'm the forever optimist about next year, and the moves that have already been made are strong moves. There are some other moves that are possibly coming up too, and I know Chris has mentioned it here in the chat. Um, Antonio Cromartie Jr.
Hmm.
Announced his offer to Florida State on Christmas Day, so that was yesterday.
Hmm.
How do you feel about that? Because there's another question in here about from someone in the chat about whether Crow Jr. is any good.
It makes me feel old. That's my only opinion on it because
Welcome.
it's starting to happen. It's happened to you a long time ago, Vince,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
and it's been happening more and more, and that makes me sad for myself because more and more in college football now, even in the NFL, you're like this guy, this guy's son. I'm like, I was in high school when his dad was legitimate and playing well, and so that's tough. That's tough for me to stomach. But I honestly have no opinion on the performance because who knows? I mean, it could be great, it could be terrible. It, it's not like we are fielding the '84 Bears defense or something. It, take it.
Yeah, I mean, you take it, but the thing, like we mentioned on a show not that long ago, is that whenever you get a legacy
Hmm.
that comes in, people, automatically, um, want them to
Performance, yeah,
be as good as their dad,
yeah,
and that'd be tough to do. Antonio Cromartie was that dude. I mean,
yeah.
he was a great player.
Hmm.
Um, so that's tough to put on him, but he's a really good player. He's a really good player. I mean, Marvin Jones Jr. Um, was he was a 4-star on some services, a 5-star on others, and he came in. He went to Georgia, didn't do much.
The new
right? And then he came here, and everybody wanted, they assumed he was just going to be just like his dad, and unfortunately, it didn't work out for him here either.
little
So
more hope for the receiver because you have a little bit more body of work.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
But anyway, so being able to figure out, if he's going to be an elite player or not is really kind of tough.
I like this point made by Yanni. Um, with the 105 scholarships coming through, soon, it's okay to do this. You're absolutely right. 105 scholarships still just sounds crazy when
It
just
really
thinking
does.
about it.
Yeah, it really, really does. Anyway, I mean, it was going to have to happen.
This is an interesting fact. You are absolutely right, Chris. Cromartie Sr. never started at FSU, but he was always in the rotation.
Yeah,
But yeah, you know what's funny about he was so fast, but it was an era issue.
yeah, yeah.
There was a lot of guys that were
Well, a
talented
lot of
at
guys, a
FBS.
lot of talented guys on those rosters. I mean, let's face it. I mean, you just said, the
Bert Reed,
rosters are now
yeah,
like 105 or whatever, right? And but back then, with the rosters they had then, and the teams were so deep, they couldn't transfer
yeah,
without losing a year. So you got elite people stacked on top of elite people, and if you got to play at all, you were great,
yeah.
at all. So
Vince, I want to talk about a little bit about the. Are we ready for the Kirk Herbstreit stuff?
um, before we get to that, let's pull some comments up. But yes, I think so.
Yeah. So I thought the same thing at first. Encyclopedia. Um, yes, he did have an injury that year. You're absolutely right. Cromartie did go first round though in the NFL draft. One thing I had a question about when it comes to transfers, in your opinion, with the over 100 rule now.
Yeah.
Do you think just because it's available that you should? Because despite that rule, it's not the old days where NIL isn't a thing. And so if before NIL you said you can have over 100 people on your roster, of course everyone would do it because there's nothing to lose but scholarships, right? You just give scholarships. Here's a scholarship, you get a scholarship,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You get a scholarship, you got to feed them, they got to go to school.
But there's something like there's thousands of players in the portal now. All of them are going to want something, right? It's not like they're going in there for nothing. Um, it would be interesting in my mind if I was a coach. I wouldn't necessarily always say I'm going to take the full amount that I can if I didn't believe that it was going to add value to my team, because I would rather spend any potential money, even if it's hey, even if a player wants like 100 grand, save that 100 grand and worry about retention. So I wouldn't always go to that cap. I know that might be counterintuitive to getting just maybe you hit on a player that was no one saw it coming, but man, I would just I can imagine where you're just spread so thin financially.
Well, it's fascinating, right? It's a
Mhm.
fascinating development, because it's that total number, 100 plus, but in the old days you'd have walk-ons, and maybe you had a preferred walk-on, right? And maybe you could funnel them a little bit of money, early on in the NIL era or whatever, they're actually part of the roster. But now it's like, I don't know, you know, are every one of the 105 guys looking for an NIL deal? I
Mhm.
mean, because you have to have scout teams still, right? And you have to have all of the same practice mechanisms in place,
Yeah.
but you're not going to NIL. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I don't see how you could NIL all 105 people.
Yeah.
Maybe. But, as I'm saying that, Daniel Gorby brings up a good point. As a New Year's resolution, consider joining the Battle Cent.
Yes.
because maybe they are going to have to NIL every last one of them.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, you could consider making a New Year's resolution to be a subscriber to the Garnet Old Show and maybe a member.
Yeah. And going back to the talk, I don't think every player would need it, but I think what's going to happen is near the when the portal periods are near closing, right, for whatever player, and if someone's truly unhappy or doesn't think they're worth it, you will see players still accepting like no NIL or it's a very small amount just to get to a new situation. I do think that's still going to happen, but I don't think it's always wise to staff up just for the sake of staffing up.
Right.
Now, because the thinking behind it is, hey, load up the rosters because now there's more games, right? You're asking a lot more on health, like from a health standpoint too, especially if they move it to more than 12-team playoff. Which, by the way, even though they were blowouts, and I want to get to this in a little bit, I still had a lot of fun watching those games.
Absolutely. We are going to get to all
Yeah,
that. I want to,
but I think I would stick around 90.
yeah, I want to pull this comment up from Yanni here. It says, I don't know much about offensive lines. Will we have a set five or will there be opportunities for young guys early, Simmons and everything? The answer to that is there are absolutely going to be like opportunities for those guys. But the beauty of the opportunities they're going to have is they're going to be, in the perfect world, plugged in around guys that have proven production.
Yeah,
So you're not throwing them to the wolves
yeah.
before they're really ready. So yes, there will definitely be opportunities for those guys.
I think you can bet your ass that the guys who have worked with Gus before are going to start. I'm just going to say that, but or at least have the advantage in the competition because of course they would.
Yeah,
Comfortability, familiarity. Before we get to anything else, Vince, can we talk about the playoff games that we just saw?
yeah. I mean, that's part of the next.
It
The
kind of
next.
is, but
Yeah.
I don't want to get into the media stuff around it yet.
Okay. No, we can slide into the actual games themselves. Absolutely. First of all, Ryan, did you watch all the games
Yes, every one of them.
from 0 to 0?
3 out of 4.
Okay. So
Easier when it's a daytime game because it's like, well, I just have it on. Yeah,
yeah, and you may take my man card for this, but I casually watched them.
that's fine.
I casually watched them
Mhm.
because I, I'm still I still have a problem with what's going on. So, but I casually watch them.
Yeah, I'm still at the end of the day when they announced the 12-man playoff. I had mixed emotions. I didn't know how I felt about that's a lot of teams to let in. If they end up moving it to even more, which every broadcast the announcers are already talking about.
Mhm.
We should move this up. What I did like though, man, home series, playing at stadiums, at home, like against teams you've never played before. The Clemson game was a good game for most of it. 3/4 of that game was really competitive and hard hitting. But
Yeah.
man, how fun was it seeing Clemson go to Texas? And I've been on this train for a long time. I think every game except the national championship should be a based on seeding, a home series for a home game for whoever is the higher seeded team. I would love that. It was so much more fun seeing Texas and all their fans making it hard than going to the whatever stadium in a neutral site. That's boring. That feels like the NFL when you do that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is. That part of it, I agree with you, Ryan, is so awesome. But and call the old part of me here. But how do you fit the bowls into that? Because to me, the bowls, while a lot of them are just kind of what they are, the ones that are significant have a
yeah,
long history and tradition, and I love that vibe too. I
yeah,
do love the neutral aspect of bringing big brands in to play at a
yeah,
a neutral site and they converge. We did this, Ryan. We went to New Orleans not together, but we were there at the same time.
Yeah.
We converged on that city, and it was a sea of garnet and gold. You know,
Yeah, my
um,
feelings on that specifically, Vit. I think you can be halfway and do at least one more round as a home series, like the first round and the second round, and then when you get to the semi and the final, I think neutral site, because then you would keep your traditional bowls. You would have three games, three sides, Pasadena and New Orleans, and maybe you do a Miami or something like that. But there's something more fun in college football about seeing
love it.
like home stadiums. And in fact, you mentioned us going to New Orleans. That was fun. I had a great time. I would have rather gone to Baton Rouge and played
I've
at
been to Baton
LSU in their
Rouge.
stadium.
I've been to Baton Rouge. It was fun to go there, and I think obviously for a playoff kind of game, it would be interesting to do that. But no bones about it. New Orleans was a great time.
Oh, for the city, you want to
New
pick New Orleans all day, but I'm talking for the game.
time, yeah. It was. It
Think
was.
about that win had we been in Tiger Stadium at night.
I mean, I've won in Tiger State. I've been there,
Yeah,
and I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. But there's also something great about you know winning a big game like that and having the world as your oyster around you. New Orleans, right?
yeah.
Let's go get some food. Let's go listen to some great music.
Some
Let's.
hurricanes.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, it was
too
an
many hurricanes.
amazing time. Um, but yeah, so as far as the games are concerned, you know, part of my issue with it still right now is that because the transfer portal calendar is not solved yet,
Hmm.
you've got teams that were in the playoff with players bolting, you know,
It was weird.
going in the portal, and that is not conducive to having a playoff, like where you actually find out who the better team is.
Yeah, they'll get that under control though. They
Well,
will.
I hope so because right now it's just a circus. It's just a circus.
Yeah.
Um,
Which game did you enjoy the most? Was it the Clemson game? It was really good.
the Clemson game, I enjoyed that game for sure. The Indiana game. I love watching college football games in general,
Hmm.
whether they're close games or whether a team pulls away at the end. I mean, I enjoy it all. Um, but it was hard for me to stomach the announcing.
Yeah, sure. Speaking of announcing, as a tangent, quick one. Did you see my tweet 2 days ago about announcing?
Yes.
So USF was playing San Jose in a thriller, by the way.
Hmm.
5 overtimes. It was great. I loved every second of it. But I tune in, and I'm like, okay, ESPN broadcast bowl game. Certain expectations from a minimum standpoint, it should at least be equal to an ACC network game during the middle of a regular season, if not better. Right? That's your hope.
Yep.
Clearly, and I don't know the guy's name. I'm sure he's a nice guy. At minimum, one of them was on a cheap headset, like
Yep.
his AirPods from home, and it sounded terrible. And all I'm thinking is ESPN, is this really what your product deserves? Don't play the bowl game if you're not going to
Well,
send
right.
send people out there. And if you
Right.
do want to do a remote game call, first of all, you're going to have a delay. He's not going to have a live perfect feed of the game. But how
Get
about
some
you force
mic.
them to send them at minimum this?
Get some great microphones. What are we even talking about here? ESPN is not anyone's partner except the Head and Shoulders conference.
Hmm.
That's the only one they care about.
I mean, it was an embarrassing broadcast. It was near unlistenable. I was tempted to mute it, and I'm just like, man, you're telling me that guy didn't have anything else other than his clearly AirPods to do his play by play. But back to the larger conversation, we'll get into now the media stuff.
Before you do that, Ryan, before you
Mhm.
jump ahead, l- let's see. Can I give away 5 memberships here?
Man, you're feeling so generous this time of year, Vince.
Oh,
You do?
I've given all 10 this month. Sorry, I
Yeah, I
can't.
was gonna say you're done.
I've given away 10 this month. I can give away 10 more next month. So I didn't want to finish this month out with not giving them
Yeah.
all away, and I've already done it. So
The clearest contradiction that I can bring up, if Kirk Herbstreit was sitting right in front of me, and I'm not the first one to say this. I'm sure a bunch of people have said this. With Kirk's explanation of they didn't even deserve to be on the field, like they're not in the same ballpark, right? I'm like, okay, so and my contradiction to that, my back going back at him would be, so you're telling me the team that is a 500 team in the NFL that wins a wild card game ends up winning going and getting blown out in the first round of the actual playoffs, so they shouldn't have gotten in. So what you're saying is, Kirk, is that you want a pure, um, basically, it feels like a don't want any Muggle blood up in here. To quote Harry Potter, you want pure bloods. That's all you want, because
well, and we'll go further
those
on that though. Go
those
further.
yes, those wild card. If this was the NFL, those wild card teams, just their record sucked, but they made it in, and then they get blown out. Well, they still have the right to play because they did what was required, the minimum requirements to make it to a playoff game. When you're talking about um, in Indiana, right? Sure, they got blown out. We have eyes. But we've also seen teams like Boise State beat Oklahoma in a bowl game matchups. You've seen upsets happen in college football every season where a team think has no chance of beating this other team wins it. So Kirk, just because this team, Indiana, got blown off the field, doesn't mean that next year's Indiana that makes the playoff doesn't win in a big upset. You cannot equate a one-off game or two games to finality. See, they can never make it. It doesn't make any sense. We all have eyes. We watch college football our whole lives. Upsets happen. Appalachian State, if they made the playoff, no one would pick them to beat Michigan, but they could.
Right? Because they have beaten them.
Yes.
And Ryan, what you're talking about here is the this condescending stance that he takes on things. You remember not that long ago, he was saying how he watches more live football than anyone else.
Yeah.
Man, get out of here with that.
Yeah.
That makes you, the guy with all the great ideas, and you and only you know best.
Right.
Except, by the way, when the college football pageant selection show happened and they asked him a question and he was too soft to actually come out and say anything because he was worried about the backlash he was going to get. So he's got a major problem, and the problem is first, well, several. He cares too much what other people think.
Oh yeah, he's soft as putty, man.
For someone that has that kind of platform, he cares way too much, almost to the point of being like, I think he needs to see someone about that.
Yeah, I mean
But
that's why he had it. I mean, he did bring his dog like everywhere before emotional support, so he must have some kind
we
of
all made we all made fun of that as a joke. I'm starting to think that that is actually the reason that that dog traveled with him.
yeah,
Like I'm starting to really believe that is his emotional support animal.
yeah, yeah, and
It's
it's
crazy.
but now what I love about this situation, Vince, when it happened to Florida State, it did feel if I was another fan base and I didn't know I wasn't following Florida State the whole year because if you're another fan base you wouldn't, and you see Jordan Travis, broken leg or whatever, and then you see we couldn't move the ball, and you're like, if I'm taking my FSU fandom hat off, the reaction that I would get from Kirk Herbstreit is like, I mean, he might not be right, but I could see where he's coming from. I'm playing devil's advocate here from last year. As another fan base, let's say I'm an Alabama fan. Oh, no, not that's actually a bad example.
That's a really bad
Let's
example.
say I'm a Texas fan, right? Who was going to get in no matter what. Yeah, Okay, but he has an opinion. He's entitled to his opinion, right? But the problem with that is, if you have an opinion and you make the rules very clear in that opinion, he set very clear rules that, man, without Jordan Travis, look at what the completion percentage in that game was with Brock Glenn and the defense. Yeah, they played well, but they're going to get blown out if they go to the playoff. They don't deserve to be there. But then the whole world sees you calling the calling the Georgia game
Mm-hmm.
where that
Tough,
quarterback has the exact same numbers,
the
and he's
grit,
saying
the toughness.
he pulled them. Man, I think his exact quote was, his numbers weren't that great, but the way he reacted and the way he led his team to victory, that says a lot about Georgia, and that says a lot about what they have left
Right.
to
It's
say. When you start doing that kind of thing, people pay attention. This is no different, Vince, and I'm not going to talk sides. This is no different than some people beliefs about modern like news coverage, right? Where it's like you can't say one thing, and then we hear you 2 years say the opposite because now everyone's got a smartphone and everyone sees everything you say. Everything is on. If you're a media personality, they hear every word, and because people can clip what you said and replay it a year later, and then edit it together where it then plays what you said this year, it makes you look terrible. And then that's the fan perspective. But then even going further, then he's called out Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp, and now Shannon Sharp. Listen, me and you both agree. Stephen A's he's a purely a media personality. He's not
he's a
to be taken
complete fool.
seriously.
He's a fool. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to piss off Shannon Sharp though. That dude is still jacked to this day. And listen, Shannon Sharp, I truly believe is a good human being, a good man. He, he's been on sensationalized shows, but he's usually not Skip Bayless. He's usually not the
Yeah.
Stephen A. He's usually the counterpoint of like, whoa, that's crazy what you're saying. Now you got your own company people saying there wouldn't be a person at ESPN that could hold me back from getting to you. Man, you gotta think that Kirk. I don't know what it is. I don't know if be, being someone myself that has struggled with in the past with mental health stuff. I could see a scenario in which if you are a media personality and you were expected to be on the road all year because now he's doing NFL too, that can have effects on you. And you start replacing things in those scenarios if you're on the road all the time and away from family all the time, and you might get absorbed into the social media is life. What happens on this
Sure.
phone is
Is
direct.
real.
It's me,
Yeah.
and I think that's what's happened here. I think he thinks this is real life.
Well, here and I'll okay, so I'm going to play a little bit of the other side too because I've been pretty critical of him. I'm sure he's a good dude.
Yeah,
Like great with his family. He's a dog owner. I'm sure he sends Christmas cards to all of his family and friends, all those things. But we can see through it, man.
yeah,
We can see through the things that you said, the opinions that you delivered as fact and truth. Like you can't enjoy this platform and have this reach and then wonder why people see through the BS. So let's just take it back to saying the thing about the quarterback. Florida State's not the same quarterback or not the same team without the quarterback. So they're going to get blown out and all this stuff. And there's no way I'd take Florida State over Alabama, whatever, without their quarterback. And now he says these other things. You want to be a stand-up, upright dude? Then you say, you know what? I've changed my mind about that.
or you
Or
say
I was wrong about that.
Georgia, man. I don't think they're the same team without their quarterback. They might not be the best choice.
Right. But they're in the playoff.
Mhm.
They're already in the playoff.
Yeah, but
So
you could
at least
still
they're going to get a chance to prove it,
yeah,
right?
you could still say it though.
But he's not, he, it's impossible to me that him working for that network, that they do not have people helping him through this minefield. It's ridiculous how bad it is.
You're acting like they want to
Well, that's the other side. It's like maybe they don't care either way because here we are,
talking
Garnet
about
Old,
it. Yeah.
Thursday nights at 7 without fail. Here we are talking about, Kirk Herbstreit, who is, you know, really only the mouthpiece now. He's like a if Paul Feinbaum is like the Motel 6
Hmm.
for the SEC, then Kirk Herbstreit's like Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah, it's not
He's,
bad.
he's a little bit he's a little bit above Feinbaum. He doesn't have the ears, but that's where he is now. And what's interesting now, like you said at the beginning of this, Ryan, is that it's not just Florida State people that see this now. It's like the majority of the college football world, and not just like the people
Yeah.
watch pro football are talking about this too. How asinine those words that came out of his mouth are. Um, I think the exact words were, "I don't want to hear any more about wins.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear about wins."
that's a quote. Yeah, that's a loaded statement. So you would take a 4-loss SEC team over an undefeated Indiana, huh?
Yeah, Kirk Herbstreit is not going to see this show unless the hundreds of people, thousands of people that watch this at him, at him on this show. Go ahead and do it at him on this show because I want him to know that it's really simple. What you're going through is a really simple solve. The really simple solve is one of two things. Either just be transparent about what you're doing because you're doing it on purpose, right? Just be transparent about it. The second way to solve this is to just acknowledge that some things you've said in the past have been foolish, ridiculous garbage.
Yeah.
Most people in the world, especially in the United States, most people are willing to cut people a break, give them another chance or whatever. At this point, Herbstreit is like the poster child for just clowndom.
Yeah. What's
So
sad
I
is he
gave
was
you,
beloved only a few years ago.
yeah, right. Kirk, I gave you two ways to turn this thing around. It's real simple. Choose one.
Yeah, it's the big one of the biggest turnarounds I've ever seen because he was even by me beloved only a few years ago. I mean, I thought he was a good guy and the face of always been the face of the college game day broadcast and all that fun stuff. And I'm still a fan of Chris Fowler. I don't care what any of you say. I think Chris Fowler is
Whatever.
still I think he's very down the center on most things, which I appreciate. But Kirk Herbstreit has become a personality, not a analyst. And if that's your goal to just get people talking, hey, then that's awesome. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of hate watchers too. That's what I think a lot of people are missing out. That Chris even brought up earlier is that maybe that's what they're telling him. Hey, man, pump that up. You got to pump up those numbers. Controversy wins, Vince. Controversy gets you clicks.
I
And so
know.
here's the big thing. What will start hurting them financially is this past season, Vince. Do you know that I didn't watch College Game Day once?
I didn't watch it either.
You know what I watched?
I watched Fox.
The what do you call it? What's the name? They had it's on the app only. They have a College Game Day show. God, help me out, chat. It's not Big Ten. It's not Big Noon Kickoff. It's the one where this year they launched a college football pregame
Oh
show.
yeah. I know what you're talking about. I can't
I
remember.
watched it every
Was it on
week.
CBS maybe?
Yeah, it was on app only. So you download the Apple TV app and it was there. You just sign in with your TV subscription. And Vince, it was no hype. All here's the matchups, here's the analytics, here's the numbers, wins, losses, a lot of fantasy like type stuff like spreads and stuff like that. What I loved about it is that it took out the nonsense, and it was like I just want to know what the games are today and who's playing and who's the likeliest chance of an upset. That's what I want to know.
Right.
All of
And
the
if
other
you're
stuff,
gonna make a pick. That's cool.
yeah. And I'm sure you're down with this Pat McAfee and Kirk Herbstreit together.
Oh God.
Now, there's a saving grace. I thought I would hate this, Vince. Nick Saban's a joy on the desk. He's become what I love about it is he just doesn't give a f. And so he'll go out there and he'll be like, "What you just said is nonsense, FY," and everyone will laugh because it's like it's Nick Saban,
Yeah.
and I don't even like Nick Saban, but he's had some funny moments.
I wouldn't know because I've not seen him.
I've seen it on X. People post like the clip
Yeah,
of like
I've not watched any of it.
Pat McAfee and him because clearly Nick Saban just looks at that guy and he's like, "Look at this clown," and he'll just stare at him while Pat McAfee's like dancing.
Here's a thought, Ryan.
Yeah,
Maybe we should do a game day type show as a
can I put on a
collab
head?
with some of our friends in the streaming world.
Other teams too.
Other teams too. Yeah, man. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Spent a lot of time on social media this week, Ryan.
Mm.
I got involved a couple times.
You do get involved. I used to be the one, and now I've stepped back. Hey, you never see me post or
No,
comment.
I know you rarely post, but I'm quick to jump in right now when I see people posting, stuff about hypothetical wins and how the seventh best team of the Head and Shoulders League, could be the champion of this league. Because there's the only way to combat that, and the best way to combat that is just throw stats at them in reality. Because it's unfortunate. Somebody posted a picture not that long ago of an SEC belt that has all the teams on it,
Yep.
like all the teams in the league, and it's like, Ryan, would you ever wear a belt that had the University of Miami logo on it?
Probably not. No.
No. Would you wear a belt like with all of the ACC teams on it? No. It is weird behavior to root for your conference, especially when the majority of those fans are fans of teams that have done zero to pump that league up.
Yeah, it's weird. I've never understood it. You've never heard me say "Go ACC," not one time. And Vince, this is what I was talking about, by the way. Hold on.
You're going to pull it up? Oh, yes. I remember this. Yeah. CBS Sports. Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Danny Cannell on there, and I actually am a big Josh Pate fan too. I like his YouTube
Uh,
channel.
yeah. White t-shirt guy.
It's
He
all
is,
it's a lot of millennials on that show.
Breeze Fry.
I think
Welcome.
you mean
Kirk
Breeze
Herbstreit's
Frey, Vince.
bad for college football. And Rock and Noel, welcome, Rock and Noel. I have to talk to you, Rock and Noel, because I had a conversation with Ryan not that long ago about how the fact that you're everywhere. Do you have a sugar mama, Rock and Noel, that's funding your trek across the globe? Because you are everywhere, my friend, and I'm jealous. That is awesome,
He's
awesome
on
stuff.
every FSU show, literally.
Yeah, he is, and he's going to like Creed concerts, and he was at the playoff games. That man is everywhere.
If you want to take us, if you want to offer us, like we'll go with you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where does that leave us, Ryan?
That leaves us at a happy holidays to all of you because I know a lot of everyone's favorite shows, the reason why we wanted to do a live one is not only because we like doing the show, but because we know and refresh your podcast apps, everyone, because it's light out there. It's been tough. Every morning when I wake up, usually I'm drinking my coffees. Usually I pull up a YouTube video or podcast.
And it's like, oh, I've already listened to that one
Yeah, it's slim
weeks ago.
pickings. So we wanted to go live and still do our normal show. We'll do the same next week after New Year's and everything. But we do hope that all of you had a very Merry Christmas with your family or whoever you spent it with. And we also hope that you have a great new year. And we hope that you choose to share 2025 with Garnet Old by joining the YouTube membership, liking
Absolutely.
this channel, and watching every episode because we love you guys and we want you to be a part of the show and share it out to your friends.
We need a few extra dollars to get the angles right on
Yep.
Ryan's Govee lights because
It's
they
going to be right next week, I promise.
are kind of askew there.
This is going to be
And I
right
want,
here.
by the way, I also want to point out some people mentioned in the comments about they like the tree. I appreciate that. That is a Florida State tree. You can't really tell, but it's all Florida State ornaments and garnet and gold bulbs. It's usually on the other side of that door, but I wanted to pull it in here. Ryan, this has been like a great year for the show, and we are not going to have another show
Yeah.
until after the new year, right?
Yep.
So, and that'll be January 2nd, next Thursday. But we want to thank everybody for going on this 2024 ride with us. I
It's
know
been a ride.
it's not been easy, people. There have been nights when I said to Ryan, Ryan, what are we even going to say tonight? But we appreciate everybody sticking with us, and hopefully, and I'm pretty confident we're going to have a much better football year next year. And we also have, the basketball teams doing well, the women's basketball team's doing well. The baseball team is going to be good again. The softball team will be great as usual. There are going to be a lot of things to talk about.
Yep. And guys, again, be safe on New Year's Eve. If you're going to drink, use the free service that Uber provides. Call an Uber for free. We don't want to see any of you that are in the chat now not be in the chat in 25. So make sure you enjoy your drinks responsibly. Have a great new year. Garnet Old. No inside info, no contacts, no problem. And
Send Chiefs all the damn time. If I win that lottery, boy, they are going.
they're
Go
going, and we're going to have a brand new studio. Go Noles, everyone. Have a good one.